I didn't get my September issue of O magazine. Do you have the number?
Here are the top 10 announcements from September that caught my eye in the hope that I can capture something that you might have missed. And a quick reminder, literally as this video drops, I'm making my way to Europe and I will be going to Scale Model Challenge over in the Netherlands. So if you happen to be there, make sure you find me and say g'day. Lots of things with wings today, so let's get cracking because there's a bit to get through.
That thing have wings?
Arma Hobby are well regarded in the modelling community, and September sees them announce another kit in their range, and that is a Hurricane Mark 1. Now this is the first time Arma Hobby have released a 48 scale Mark 1 Hurricane. Now this is not just a rebox of a Mark II that they've previously released, because the fuselage, the wings and the propeller have all been designed from scratch. This boxing also includes a Mark 1 variant with metal wings, which is a significant detail because many of these early Hurricanes had fabric wings. While it's often overshadowed by the Spitfire, the Hurricane comprised around 2/3 of the RAF's frontline strength in 1940 and was credited with around 60% of all kills during the Battle of Britain. The Hurricane was quick and easy to produce and easy to repair and saw service in just about every theatre of the war. Now I'll have to hand in my Arma modelling badge because I keep dishing up things with wings. But I saw this one over on the modelling news and I thought this release was kind of cool. It's the CT114 Tutor Snowbird and it's in 1/32nd scale and it's being released by JoyCraft. Now this plane is a Canadian built trainer jet, but more importantly, the Snowbirds are a symbol of Canadian national pride and are the Canadian Air Force's national aerobatic team, similar in stature to the Blue Angels or the Red Arrows. This looks to be a combination of injection molded and 3D printed parts and probably won't appeal to everyone, but it's certainly something you don't see every day, and this announcement was more of an expression of interest as I see it. So if this floats your boat, you should definitely let them know. Now don't be fooled by the name because Arma Models has got nothing to do with Arma Hobby. And given its limited release, we're probably going to struggle to cross paths with this one, but I wanted to call it out anyway because it did catch my eye. I'm talking about the KA-52M Super Alligator attack helicopter. Now detail is hard to come by, but I did manage to see what their KA-52 looks like and it looks pretty amazing. Check out World in Miniature for a full review of that earlier kit, and you'd imagine this one's obviously going to be of a similar nature. The KA-52M Super Alligator is a modernised version of the KA-52, which is just a regular alligator and not a super one. The helicopter can operate in all environments as well as in night and day, and it's often paired with drones and other aircraft for reconnaissance and targeting. Now, crew seats are armoured, and surprisingly, this helicopter has got ejection seats, believe it or not. There are a few kits of the KA-52 available out there, but I think this might be the first kit available of the M version. So you might cross paths with it. Keep an eye out for it because it looks like a cracking little model. Now this is a kit that I've actually included because of the manufacturer again, but since I've been doing a little bit of research, my interest in this one has peaked. But more on that in a sec. ForeArt first caught my attention when they released a couple of beautiful 72nd scale Schnellboots, and they later went on to produce a couple of warships, the HMS Sheffield being one of them. This release sees ForeArt release the M142 HIMARS in 1/72nd scale. The M142 High Mobility Artillery Rocket System is a US wheeled vehicle. It's a rocket launcher mounted on an FMTV 6x6 truck chassis, designed to deliver precision rocket and missile fire while being highly deployable and mobile. This boxing is a Ukrainian example supplied via USAID. Now this kit has 3D printed tyres and etch, and even in 72nd scale should be a reasonable size model. But if you were wanting to upscale to 35th, I can tell you ForeArt released this kit in 35th scale a few months ago. And what makes this release a little bit more attractive for me is the Australian Army has just ordered 20 examples of this vehicle. And being a proud Australian, I definitely love building Australian subjects, so I will 100% be keeping an eye out for this one.
Like you actually are biased.
Now it's with a degree of bias I'm calling out this next one, and it's the latest boxing of the Australian M113A1 from AFV Club. Now I know AFV Club have been pumping these things, and they seem to have found a niche with the Australian based subjects. Now it's not like these AFV Club M113s don't have a few issues, they do, but with a little bit of patience they can build into a nice little model. Now what makes this boxing of this vehicle unique is the style of track they used, and it's the Deal 513B tracks, and these were an upgraded track. It features wider links, larger rubber pads with smaller connectors and double pins. This resulted in greater track life, with them being far less prone to damage and failure. It also required a different drive sprocket to accommodate this new design, so that's obviously going to feature in this kit. The modern Australian three-tone, now could be bias again, is a beautiful scheme, and it's one of the more attractive camouflages out there in my opinion. So that's the reason this one's made the list. The J35A Gyrfalcon is a 5th generation twin engine stealth multi-role aircraft developed by China, and it first saw flight in 2023 but was publicly unveiled in 2024. Now, not that modern Chinese military jets are particularly my thing, it's the manufacturer that really caught my eye here, and that's Arma model. A lot of you might be familiar with that brand because of the Harrier that they recently released. It was the AV8B, and anyone who's built that kit, or at least the ones that I've seen, have been raving about how beautiful it is and how buildable it is, which is what has sparked my attention in this release. Now the Harrier was in 48 scale and this Gyrfalcon is in 72nd scale, but it should still be a reasonable size model. I strongly suspect this is a release for the Chinese market in particular. However, if it's anything like that Arma model Harrier that was released, I wouldn't be surprised if this makes its way onto a few modelling benches out there. I found a new appreciation for this tank after reading James Holland's awesome book, Brothers in Arms. That story follows a group of tankers driving their Shermans from D-Day across right up to the German surrender. So what does the Stuart have to do with that? Well, from time to time, a Stuart pops into the story, and the fondness the crew have towards it seem to have really stuck with me. The Stuart was loved for its speed and mechanical reliability, especially in the early parts of the war when many other tanks were underpowered and prone to breakdowns. Commonwealth crews remarked it was a real honey to drive, and hence the phrase "stuck and honey" became the informal British nickname for the Stuart in Commonwealth service. This is a full interior kit and the latest release in the Stuart line from MiniArt. The first being last year. Now the way that frontal armour opens up should give us the ability to get a real good look at the interior if you want to invest the time into it, and that's why I've added this one to the list. Last year, Magic Factory released the A4M Skyhawk, and it saw great praise pretty much universally across the hobby. If you missed it, Gary Wickham from ScaleSpot built one for the Modelling News, and now I'll leave a link down below because that's an absolute beauty. Now this release is the same kit as Gary built over on ScaleSpot, and it will give you an idea of what to expect in the box. However, what appealed to me the most about this release was its coming with the aggressor schemes that these Skyhawks saw. So what's an aggressor scheme? Well, it's those bright, high contrast, multi-tone camouflage schemes. of the Skyhawks that performed as the enemy in training exercises. The A4M is regarded as the ultimate refinement of the scooter, with the most powerful engine and the airframe, and it saw improved handling, increased capacity, but the thing that gave this plane its character was the hump on its back, and the thing that I like the most. I've always loved the Skyhawk, and these aggressive schemes are going to make for the perfect excuse for me to pick this one up.
No monkey business. Come on.
Now this will test you. Who out there remembers the Tales of the Gold Monkey? It was a TV series that ran from 1982 to 1983, and it was corny as all get up. It was set in 1938 in the South Pacific, and very much in the mold of Indiana Jones. And the show saw the main character, Jake Cutter, run a cargo business, but managed to find himself in all sorts of trouble along the way. Jake's plane, Cutter's Goose, was always the highlight of the show, watching it take off and land, which was, of course, a Grumman Goose. And seeing this announcement brought back so many memories for me. I don't know a lot about this model, but I do know it comes in 32nd scale and will come with fully detailed engines and have posable hatches and doors. Realistically, I'll probably never build this one, but purely from a nostalgic trip, this one caught my eye and I wanted to include it in this list. It can be nice to step outside the boundaries that scale modeling often imposes on us in terms of accuracy and finish, and that's where a kit like this can be a breath of fresh air for the modeler. It offers us something familiar, but something unique as well. This is the reimagined Japanese battleship Yamato. It's in 1/350th scale and it's by Boredom Models. And the twist here being is it's an alternate reality where the Axis powers actually won the war. The kit looks like it's going to be very similar to the Yamato that Border released, obviously, with a few upgrades and parts. And that kit looks absolutely amazing with 3D printed parts and etch and whatnot. It's going to be a significant build if you are going to undertake this one. After doing a little bit of digging around this model and where it came from, I think it's loosely based on a show called Man in the High Castle, and that ran on Amazon Prime from 2015 to 2019. And it's based on Philip K. Dick's 1962 novel of the same name. It imagines what the Yamato may have looked like in a different reality, obviously with armor upgrades and whatnot, and they plonked a helicopter deck on the back of it just for good measure. Granted, this one probably isn't going to appeal to the purists, but I actually applaud Border for getting involved in a subject like this and being brave enough to release it, because if you're game and you're interested, you can really let your imagination run wild with this, and you will have absolutely no one there to tell you that you got the color wrong. So that's it. That's my top 10 announcements from September. What did you guys think? What have I missed? Did you agree? What about the Yamato? Do you think that's going to appeal to people? Because I've seen mixed responses online, and it's going to be one that you either love or hate. And I know I mentioned it before, but I'm that excited. I will be at Scale Model Challenge, so I hope to bring you some content from there, as well as some content from the museums that hopefully I'll get to check out while I'm over there. Now, I have lined up a couple of videos to drop while I'm away, so be sure to check in. I have finished that half track and I'm so happy with how that came up. So that will drop in the next couple of weeks. I've also got a little look at the air show I just went to recently, so be sure to check that one out. You know the drill, guys. This is the greatest hobby in the world. Share it with your family and share it with your friends, and let's be proud of what we do. Until next time, I will see you soon.
Hello, I'd like to call the Netherlands.